of me. Run through the land, you run through my soul. Bring me wisdom and peace. Run through all ages and all of life's stages. You bring me around to find my release.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have a local young lady, Rachel Best, and she is a speech-language pathologist. She runs Small Steps Therapy. You have an office here in Upton.
I do.
You're in Mendon also.
I am.
And you're still in Providence.
Yeah, Providence is our home base.
Albany, New York. So now if you're looking for speech therapy, right, this is great. I'll tell you about my experience, but I found your business card at the Willowbrook restaurant.
Yes.
If you're in this area, you're over and across the country, you're not going to know, but it's a nice restaurant, and you can put your business cards up there. So we were with friends, and I just kind of wandered over. I can't resist finding it. And I said, you know what, she sounds pretty good. We need this. And
yes, and here we are.
How long have you been doing this, Rachel?
So I have been a speech therapist, graduated in 2008.
Where'd you go?
I went to BU.
To BU?
To BU, yeah, my master's.
Yeah. In speech pathology?
In speech pathology, correct.
What, did you know in high school that's what you wanted to do?
I did not. I had a very fun journey. So I grew up dancing. I was a ballerina, loved dancing. So my plan was to go to Dean and dance for a year and then go to a school in Mississippi and dance out there until I graduated. My sophomore year, I realized leotard and tights and being judged all the time is not for me.
Yeah.
Switched to elementary education. My mother is a teacher. So
I can relate.
Yes, had some family things going on, really wanted to come back home.
Yeah.
And why would you study education in Mississippi when Massachusetts is educational capital of the country? So came back to Massachusetts, ended up at Bridgewater.
I used to live in Bridgewater, right across from the college.
Oh, it's a great area.
Yeah.
I loved Bridgewater. One of my favorite schools that I went to, since I went to so many. Wandered into the wrong classroom, met with the head of the communication disorders department on accident.
Yeah.
She convinced me to join the department that day, signed up for classes, and here we are.
That was it. How long were you? Did you graduate from Bridgewater?
I did, yes. Undergrad is from Bridgewater.
How long did you have to stay there? You had already got some under your belt.
Yes, I did. I graduated in 4 years still. So I did, between my junior and senior year, I did go that summer.
Did you stay in the dorms?
I did not.
Oh.
No, I had a friend at Bridgewater, so we had an apartment.
Over at, right up the street from the college, is something called Waterford Village. And a lot of brick apartments, kind of like a development, really nice. That's where I lived with my parents.
Oh, small world, yes.
You been up to Plymouth State, up in New Hampshire?
No.
White Mountains. What part of Keene?
Yes.
Yeah. So I started off in elementary ed. That's what the other girls were doing, and I thought, oh, well, My roommate was an art major. Funky, and it would look like a lot of fun to me, and I thought, that's it, I'm dropping that. And I just didn't even ask my parents. I just went right into art.
Yeah, no, that's a great field.
Yeah, it is. It's great to, I try to let my son know, take a chance. If it doesn't work out, so what? I don't want to hoard sword of Damocles over his head and say, you've got to do this.
Yes, no, we need to encourage our children.
So how long have you been doing, when did you start your company?
So I worked at St. Anne's Hospital in Fall River for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Had my first child. I was also working part-time at the Wolf School in East Providence.
What is the Wolf School? The
Wolf School is a private special ed school. It has this beautiful immersion model that really includes teachers, teachers' assistants, speech therapists, occupational therapists, reading specialists, all working together on every team to target each child's individual needs. So the kids are, maybe have autism, high-functioning autism, ADHD, childhood apraxia of speech, different diagnoses like that, but they cannot function in a normal classroom.
Yeah.
They need some different supports. So through the immersion model, they're able to get speech, OT, reading support, a teacher working with them one-to-one. So it's really a beautiful model.
Yeah.
So I was there for a while. Then I had my daughter, and I knew...
How old is she now?
She just turned 6.
Oh, she's going to be going to first grade, or is she in?
She just started kindergarten here at Memorial.
All right. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Spanish immersion program.
She your first?
She's my second of 3.
Of 3?
Of 3.
Oh, because is she the youngest or the oldest?
Middle.
And she's in the middle.
So I
One
had
girl, 2 boys?
2 boys and a girl.
Good. You got your girl. That's good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But with 2 kids, I knew that school hours weren't really the best.
Yeah.
You know, every day but a shorter day. Childcare was challenging, and I missed all the feeding work I was doing. I do a lot of swallowing therapy, picky eating therapy. I was doing that at the hospital, and I wasn't doing it as much at the school.
Yeah.
So scheduling and, you know, certain parts of our field that I specialize in.
I'm up
Lots
here.
of
I
it.
mean, Milford. This whole area we could use your service.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, I think there was a little boy I used to take care of many years ago, and he went to normal school, but he had trouble with some words.
Mhm.
So I would take him to a therapist in Whitensville, kind of like a speech therapy,
Yep.
and he did pretty well. I mean, he did all right. What is this with the ADHD? My son had that, but he was very verbal right from the get-go. He
Yes.
could handle any word, and now he's like, but how does that affect the words?
So it doesn't necessarily affect articulation, so to speak, but it would affect what we call executive functioning. So a child with ADHD may or may not have trouble organizing their belongings, a written assignment,
Oh, yeah.
a binder, like anything
Yeah.
to do with organization
Yeah.
or, you know, forming a thought, writing an essay, just getting their ideas all out on the paper in a way
Yeah.
that makes sense to the reader, to
Yeah.
the teacher. So those kind of pieces would be what a speech
That
therapist
sounds
is
familiar.
doing.
Because he could verbalize you to the end of the earth,
Yes.
but he didn't want any part of written homework.
Yes.
They finally nailed this guy. They finally said, okay, you're going to do your homework before you go home.
Yes, that's very helpful.
Why not? It worked.
Yeah, and giving them some techniques on, okay,
Yeah.
you know, let's color code things, let's, you know, make an outline and make a plan.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, you know, maybe he had all these ideas rushing out onto the paper,
Yeah.
but they made sense in his head, but not in
Yeah.
a clear, succinct way.
Now,
So-
do you work just with children, Rachel, or are there adults that need this too?
So my specialty is with children. I am a pediatric therapist,
Yeah.
but some of my other clinicians do work with adults.
They do. Do you ever get over to UMass, Milford Hospital? Now, that's a yet, right?
Yes,
Maybe?
I have not yet because we're still relatively new to this area, but yes,
I
we
know
would love
over
that.
at UMass they have a whole, it's like a mini children's hospital within the university hospital. Very interesting.
Yes.
I think we get her in touch with them over there. I think
Yes,
that'd be
please.
awesome. Oh, this would be great. So, what would be the hours? How do people get a hold of you?
So it's best to either call me directly,
Mm-hmm.
401-793-1829, or send me an email, Rachel at smallstepstherapyri.com.
Mm-hmm. That's for Rhode Island, right?
Yes, because our first practice was in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So that's
And
our
is it-
domain.
Are you open every day of the week? Are you at certain times you're there or here?
Yep, we're in Providence every day, Monday through Saturday. Right now we're in Upton Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but as more kids, you know, need our services, we'll continue to expand our hours out here.
So you connected with the Memorial School. You had to connect with the main schools around here too in order to get the word out about what you
Yes, so that's the process we're in right now, kind of getting the word out.
do. Right.
So we've connected, I collaborated with the Whole Child,
Yeah.
the clinic up the street this summer.
Yes, it's near the post office.
Yeah, so my office is right next door to them.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
This is super. Right,
Yes.
right in Upton.
Right
and
in
it's,
Upton.
you know where the post office is? It's that it's signed when you get in the parking lot of the post office. Whole Child.
Yes,
I believe she was on our show a while back.
Carrie Ann Kimball.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
Yes.
And so you're the same building.
So we're right next door. There's a big white building.
Yeah.
It has a lot of apartments and a couple offices in it.
Okay, so it's not just apartments; it's also offices.
Yes. Yep. The Whole Child even has a space in that building as well.
This is good. So you're just beginning to get the word out here,
Yes.
but your main base is Providence, would you say?
Yeah. Until we get
Until-
this site up and running a little bit
You've
more.
got 6 people, you said, working for you in Providence?
Yes.
That's great for a beginning. This is for starting off in a small business like this,
Yes.
the Irby type business, and you expand to Westboro, Northboro, so many different elementary schools, and not to forget the high schools. Even the, what do you call them, the behavioral schools, where
Yes.
the kids aren't stupid, they just don't, maybe
Yeah,
they
they
just,
need a little extra support.
right,
or-
they go there. Perfect place for that too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and that's really my heart is just to be able to serve as many kids as we can, just giving them a voice, helping them to be able to eat, helping them build their confidence so that they can communicate and self-advocate within their classroom, within their community, within their own family. So
Do you find many of them get bullied and teased because it doesn't...
yes, it's brutal, it's painful, but yes, a lot of our kids get bullied because maybe they can't communicate. So if you're thinking down to the preschool levels, maybe a little kid is just taking their toys and they can't communicate, they can't self-advocate. So
how do you keep it
even
not
within that
scary?
realm.
They come, mom and dad brings them to you, and you have it set up real child friendly,
Yes.
and then it's sort of like a one-on-one.
So our model is to, as often as possible, to have the parent in the session
Yeah.
so that they know exactly what we're doing, so that they can carry over at home. Because there's only so much you can do in an hour a week.
Yeah.
So, we're going to see the kid for 45 minutes to an hour, but if the family is in the session, they know exactly what we're doing, and they can carry those goals over to home. So as often as appropriate, we have the parents in the session. Otherwise, the kid comes in. Our model is very play-based.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to have our language goals, but we're going to do it on the floor, playing games, so that it's very easy to replicate the activity at home.
Yeah.
So I literally just came from a session,
Yeah.
and I was working on spatial concepts with this adorable little boy who has autism, 4
How
years
is he?
old.
4 years old. Okay. My grandson, he's only 6, and I was the one to notice it when he was 18 months. I'd read about symptoms,
Mhm.
and I told my son, his father, and my son's a kid anyway, but I told him and the mother, I said, I keep calling his name, and he is not acknowledging me.
Uh-huh.
One of the symptoms,
Yes.
and I said, basically it was like, get this checked out, you got nothing to lose. Son of a gun, he had high functioning. Twice a week they would come to their apartment.
Yeah, early
He's in
intervention.
regular school now, regular first grade.
Early intervention is the best option. Yes.
Thank you,
it's
Jan.
Great.
Thank you, Grandma Jan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's important to check it out because it's not normal in my family not to, when somebody calls your name, he's in his own world.
Yes. Yes. He wasn't processing, so he needs to learn those skills, and the sooner he can learn them, the sooner he can get back on track and communicate with his peers. Maybe he will interact a little bit differently for the rest of his life, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
He's doing it.
But he's got the skills now, and he can.
He's hyper-focused. He knows more about the planets and
Yes.
than I do. And now his father says he's heading into geographical things too. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
he's 6.
Yeah,
Some
that's
of
what
them-
interests him. It's an exciting topic for him. So
What
he's
was that show on
invested.
TV, The Good Doctor? Is he supposed to be autistic?
Yes. Yes.
Because he does a good job of that role.
Yes.
Makes me wonder how, though, are they allowing him to function in a hospital? That's the odd thing.
TV, not necessarily reality, but
That's TV. We are talking, again, with Rachel Bestons. She is a speech-language pathologist. She runs Small Steps Therapy. You've got it right here in Upton, and she's in Mendon, right? And Providence, Rhode Island, and if you're really willing to travel, Albany, New York.
yes.
So who's going to take over for the Albany one once you settle more here?
I have a girl that I've interviewed, and we haven't signed any official paperwork, but she will.
She's going to
She
do
will
it.
take that. So the reason I have Albany is one of my cousins is a very successful music therapist.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Expressive Journeys in Albany, New York.
Yeah.
She has a wonderful music therapy business, so she has a clinic, and we'll be collaborating and
That's
doing
great.
speech and music therapy together, which is just very exciting.
Well, when I took care of this little boy years ago, I didn't go in with him and the therapist. Well, I was the nanny, right?
Yes.
So he would come out, and I think every time he had a little piece of paper to show his father, like, what sound they had worked
Yes.
on. Why does the letter B come to my mind? But it was something like that. And that's what I figured they'd worked on for that 45 minutes, half an hour. He seemed to go through it okay. He didn't cry or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it should be fun and engaging. It should be games. A little kid cannot learn just sitting at a table. Say this B word, say this word, say this word, say this word. It needs to be fun and engaging. So if I was going to work on B, I'd go through all of my toys, pull out any toy that had a B in it. Or if it's a kid who's a little bit older, maybe we'd play like a memory game with B cards, something fun and engaging. Because nobody learns by what's
No.
this, what's this,
How,
what's this,
how old
what's
is
this.
your youngest one? How old are they?
My youngest patient.
Yeah.
Well, I have a really strong interest in feeding therapy and oral motor.
Feeding there?
Feeding therapy, so kids who, maybe aren't able to use their mouth or their tongue muscles in a way that's expected. Maybe their muscles are a little weak, some discoordination. So a huge interest of mine right now is babies that are born with a tongue tie. So
I had right here, but they snipped it. You never know.
Yes.
My tongue wasn't tied, just my lip went up a little. And they did it from underneath, so you'd never know.
Yeah, they just cut it. So they often were the ones who diagnosed the tongue tie, or the pediatric dentist, or the pediatrician, whoever sees it first, the lactation consultant.
Yeah.
So once it's released, the baby has now gone through 9 or so months of restricted movement. So now they need a speech therapist to come in and teach them how to move their muscles. So we have very specific exercises that we use.
They can eat, though, but they can't?
They can. Breastfeeding is often very difficult because their tongue is not in the right spot. They can't achieve the normal movement. So once it's released, we work really hard to get that tongue moving again. And usually there is a lot of discomfort for the mother until the baby is used to moving their tongue and
How do people know this? I mean, you take the baby home. I swear my son was more preemie, but they said he was, he came like almost 2 weeks early, but he had trouble. He was fine. He could eat, but we had to try all these different on the bottles.
Yeah.
He couldn't seem to figure out how to get he wasn't tied, but the one that finally worked was the Nook.
Yes.
I was concerned. I thought, I've never seen a child have trouble doing that. The sucking part worked fine.
Yes.
He just couldn't figure out how he got his little lip. What is that?
Yes. Well, it's actually one of the last things to develop in utero. So you're saying he's born 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
That makes me think he needed a little extra time to kind of have this muscle develop.
I thought so. I mean, he was due on the 16th of May. He started coming on the 5th.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't seem that early.
No, and he's fine. But, that little extra time would have maybe helped him develop those muscles a little bit more. But, he got it. He maybe struggled for a few weeks, but then, he was able to develop it.
Found the right one, and he got it. Yeah, definitely.
It's the right size,
that
the right
would have bothered
shape
me if
for
he
his
couldn't
mouth.
eat, because they're not supposed to lose weight when they're born.
No.
That's not a good thing. Again, how can they reach you, Rachel?
The best way to reach me, my phone number is 401-793-1829, and leave me a message. Or email me, rachel@smallstepstherapyri.com.
So if they call you, you make a special appointment for them? Are you open at just special times?
So if you're coming to the Upton office, we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
The after-school slots are always the hot ticket because most of our kids are in school, but we try to schedule. We do groups with, a small amount of children, or we see kids one-on-one, whatever that particular child needs, we try to build.
How do you figure out if this child needs to be with others or better off by themselves? How do you know?
It depends on the goal. So if it's somebody who's just working on articulation, we're teaching them how to make their R. Yeah. We can generally do that one-to-one. If it's a child with autism or some social skills, we're going to see them one-to-one, work on the skills, and then we really want to get them in a group with their peers to practice those skills.
I like that. I know that with my little grandson, they came to that apartment twice a week, and they were able to. What I saw was silent. He was always doing something, but his focus was not on the people around him.
Yes.
So I thought, that's why I said, I'm calling out his name, and he is not acknowledging me. And I knew he wasn't being rude. I knew that. I just said, no, either he can't hear me,
or he's not processing.
So find out. And it's not that hard to find out, right?
Right.
To find for the kids. Do you have more children with autism than, say, other? Is that the biggest thing right now?
We do have a lot of kids with autism, maybe 40% of our caseload. We also see a lot of children with, just standard articulation. Because I am a feeding therapist and it's an interest of mine, we have a lot of these kids because not a lot of speech therapists specialize in this area of our field. So we get a lot of referrals for feeding therapists, and I'm training all my staff.
Yeah.
These are a lot of the kids that need our support. They can't find it elsewhere. So a lot of my girls also specialize in feeding now. We see a lot of children with childhood apraxia of speech.
Now, what is that?
So apraxia of speech is children generally have average intelligence, all of their muscles work fine, but they cannot get the message from their brain to the muscles. So you see them constantly moving their mouth around, trying to get their tongue in the right spot to make the sound, and they just cannot control it.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to slowly get the sounds and really build those motor plans.
Is it successful?
Yes, yes.
So they're not teased all their life. You get it early, and that's
It
it.
depends on the severity. It's also a spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
There's kids who are mildly affected or severe.
Yeah.
So some of these older kids may still have some speech challenges. Some of them, as they're in later elementary school, we're working more on public speaking skills because they have to really think about everything they're going to say and use more public speaking skills just for normal conversations. So,
God, where were you when I was just lost when we had my son? I thought, what do I do? So the only thing I thought of was just trying those different nipple styles.
yes.
But would you have been able to help me? I'm like,
Yes,
he's
yes.
not feeding right here.
Yeah, as soon as we would have seen his lip not moving the right way, we would have said, okay, you need to do these exercises,
Yeah.
try this movement, and then we would have, gone through the different bottles
Yeah.
to see, which nipple is best.
He was
What
hungry.
shape?
That wasn't it. It
Yes.
was just
He couldn't do it, yeah.
maneuvering it, and you could just tell.
And usually it's coordinating the suck, swallow, breathe.
Yeah.
It's
He had
different for
GERD.
infants.
He had what a lot of us grown-ups have.
Yes, the acid reflux.
We had brought him home. He was only home a few days, and we were visiting with friends, and we heard god-awful sounds coming from
Oh,
him.
no.
I said, you better take him up the street. I was exhausted, so a friend and my husband went up the street with him, and actually, it was just brand new, but they were able to do a upper GI with the baby. He wouldn't know. They probably knocked him out. They swallowed the barium.
Yes.
And they said he has reflux.
Yes.
So we want you to go up to UMass, the specialists, and see what they say, because worst case scenario is surgery. So went up to UMass and they said, no, let's take a conservative approach. Raise the head of his bed, his crib.
Yep, so you're
And
using gravity.
It worked.
That's the only strategy.
I don't think we had to do anything else. We just raised it because maybe we had him too much this way, and it wasn't. It was
Well, the sphincter that connects the esophagus to the stomach in a baby
yeah.
is the muscles are not as strong.
Yeah.
So they open, they're much looser. So the acid comes out much more frequently. So if you have them propped up, you're using gravity to keep it down.
For all the world, this sounds like he was preemie.
Yeah.
Both of these symptoms, but I guess I don't know.
But
maybe
he survived. He's a healthy adult
Yeah,
now.
yeah, oh, yeah. He'll talk your ear off. He doesn't come up for air. Oh my God. So now you're 3 children, right?
Yes.
None of them have an issue with that.
Of course, the speech therapist children.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I'm a speech therapist, so I've worked with all of my children. My oldest, we've worked on the L sound, the R sound, the TH sound, and his learning profile is a little bit different. He needs a lot of review. He's also in the Spanish immersion program at Clough in Mendon,
Really?
which has been great because learning to read in Spanish is much easier than learning to read in English.
I took French.
Oh gosh, I don't know much about reading in French.
Yeah.
But I know learning to read in English is very confusing.
Yeah.
So that's actually been a huge benefit for him and given him a little more time to develop. My little one, she's at the Spanish immersion here in Memorial.
Oh.
She's doing pretty well. My youngest, I don't know, the speech therapist son who is a thumb sucker.
Also, was
Oh
I.
man,
So was
yes.
I. Yeah.
So
not
sucking
out
your
of the
thumb.
house, just at home.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it changes the shape of your palate, changes the bone development.
No, it didn't with me for some reason. Everything came out okay.
I see with him, he's got a lower jaw coming out, so
Oh.
he's going to be my heavy hitter.
He's an What do you ever deal with children who they come in from another country,
Mhm.
and maybe at home the only language is maybe Hindu or Spanish or whatever? How do you? It's almost like, are you teaching them English too when they come to you?
Yes, so in most of those cases, we would strongly recommend that they have an interpreter.
Okay.
So none of us are fluent in another language. I speak a little bit of Spanish because my kids are in the Spanish school. Some of the other therapists do as well, but therapy is best in the family's native language.
Yeah.
So we would probably recommend that they go to, a bigger hospital that can provide an interpreter, or if the family has a family member that can interpret for us. Especially, it's critical that all testing is done in the native language to get accurate results.
But how are they going to survive here in the States if they don't speak English?
Yes,
That's tough.
a child in these days is going to be put in school,
Yeah.
and they're going to learn English. Our classes are going to be taught primarily in English. So,
Right. What are some of the harder, more challenging ones that you've run into through the years?
more challenging cases.
Yeah, what's more challenging for the child and maybe more upsetting for the parent who's worrying?
I think one of the most challenging things that we come across is, kids who have autism. I think it's very difficult for parents to know what to expect. They always want to know, what's it going to be like in 10 years? Is he going to be able to go to college? Is he going to be able to get a
Oh
job?
gosh, yes.
And we can't answer these questions. We don't know. We can just say, we're going to do everything we can. These are the treatments we recommend. This is what we're going to provide. And we'll continue to monitor him closely or her closely. So that's always challenging. We wish we had a crystal ball.
Is it sometimes to the point where the parents are so worked up, you find you need to calm them down too?
Yes. Even in grad school, we have a whole class dedicated to counseling.
Oh.
Because there's a huge component of counseling in what we do.
Yeah, and it was very disturbing for me just seeing like a grandson. I've
Yes.
never seen it in my family in my life, and I'm like, there's something not wrong with him, but something is not right. He wasn't responding,
Yes.
and I had to his name, and I'd call him, and I'm thinking, but he's just he's not verbal enough. Now, he's fine, but
Yes.
I can see where a lot of parents would lose hope.
Yes.
So I recommended I had to be very careful because sometimes you don't want to step over anybody's feet.
Yes.
They took my advice and got the help for him.
Yes.
'Cause
At a really young age too.
And to parents who've never seen other parents who've never seen this in their family, it's like, well, something must be very wrong. Child's not listening
Yes.
to me. Then they get mad. But I knew, no, I'm not going to get mad. He's either one of two things. Either he doesn't hear, or he's got a problem with the autism. And I was right on the autism.
Yes.
It's a good feeling. What do you recommend to parents? We've got about 2 minutes left.
So if your child is young, 0 to 3, early intervention will come out to your house and do an evaluation.
Okay.
So what private practice, what I would do, if your child is receiving early intervention, we would also provide something supplemental. So private practice is more for supplemental treatment or a treatment that's a little bit different, more medically based. If your child is over 3, you have the right to have your child evaluated by the school, and the school will deem your child eligible or not. In private practice, we can do an evaluation for any child of any age. So my practice is unique because we are able to do medical billing and bill through insurance companies.
Good.
I'm working really hard on being able to accept Mass Health.
Yeah, that's
It's
super.
very challenging.
Are you able to right now?
I'm in the process of finishing up my application, waiting for a site visit, and it's a very, very complicated process. It's much easier for clinicians to just be private pay, but
not for the families.
it's not where my heart is. My heart is to be able to provide services to every child, regardless of whether they can
So
afford
right
it
now,
or
if
not.
they haven't, if the Mass Health isn't working with you, so a family comes in. Obviously, they don't have the money for a full pay. Do you work on a sliding scale with them?
We do. We take it a case-by-case basis. Most of the time, we're going through insurance, so it's not necessarily an issue. But we absolutely would.
Yeah, definitely.
that's
don't
just what
hesitate to call Rachel, because Rachel, before we close, one more time, how can they get a hold of you?
My phone number is 401-793-1829, and leave me a voicemail. Or my email is rachel@smallstepstherapyri.com.
She's right here in Upton. She's over in Mendon. She's in Providence, but you don't have to go that far. She's right here. If you have a child that you're noticing something's not right with the speech, the teachers may be sending a note home. What's the oldest that you will accept, or at any age?
Yeah, I mean, really any age, adults.
Okay.
We don't accept Medicare at this point
Well,
yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would see an adult or a child.
How's
Whoever
that?
needs to talk, eat,
I love it.
or...
Do the hospitals recommend you at all? Have you gotten that far where they know where you are?
No, we haven't really connected with any of the hospitals. Most of them provide their own services.
Yeah.
So
See, it
they're less
doesn't hurt.
likely to refer.
Over at UMass, have you been in there in the cafeteria?
I have not.
Huge bulletin board for the public. If you have a flyer, your business cards, I would say go over there on a Monday or a Sunday because
Okay.
they've already cleaned off for the week before.
Okay.
Keep up with it. To put 2 or 3 of them up strategically. People see these. I used to use them for other things, and I'd get responses. You
Awesome.
never know.
Well, you found my business card on the
Oh, yeah.
bulletin
Right.
board, so.
Willowbrook Restaurant. in Mendon.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
think I was just standing there with my daughter, and
Yeah.
I stuck a business card up there.
that's the way to do it. Even at libraries.
Yes.
There's a good place to do it, too.
Yes.
Don't forget, on your way out of here at the Upton Library, we've got the bulletin boards.
Yes, I did see that. I'll stick some cards up there.
Use it. I mean, you'll see a ton of people up there that were guests on the show.
Uh-huh.
So don't be shy.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me. This
You're
has been
welcome.
wonderful.
We'll see you next time.